Hello and welcome into Sorare with Laird. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdino on Sorare. It's Tuesday. It means Harry Trades is here. My apologies for being a little late. Harry and I were talking about Web3 games and just, that's what we were talking about.
How fun they are.
How fun they are. I will say, let's get into it. I have found that the best Web3 games do a really good job of hiding Web3. And it's something like we've seen Sorare do for a couple years, where it's just like, oh, win crypto. And they're like, never mind. Use your credit card. Borrow money from, what the hell's that site called that everybody was getting all fired up about?
Klarna,
yeah. And I don't know. I feel like the mainstream people are just not ready for Web3, but it turns out they're playing Web3 games and not even realizing it. And I don't know. That's a fun part of it. And maybe Harry and I will get into tennis. Who knows?
Or paddle. They need to make a paddle one. Now that would go mainstream.
Oh man,
paddle's growing. Like,
are they? It really is. Is there like professional paddle that people watch?
Yeah, I think so. They do like these like tournaments and stuff. I watch a podcast, Flagrant 2, with Andrew Schultz, who's a comedian, and he's like massive into it. He's obviously not pro or anything, but like he's like obsessed with them all. And he went to like Miami, and there was like a big pro. It's a lot of ex-tennis players, ex-athletes are kind of just turning pro and whatever. And yeah, but apparently the standard's like really high, considering no one's like grown up playing paddle yet.
Yeah, I'm sure. I watched like 5 minutes of a professional pickleball tournament the other day. And the only reason I turned it on, I turned it on because I was like, there's no way this is actually on television. And then I turned it on. I was like, holy shit, it actually is on television. But I think I might have mentioned this on stream once, but there was an American tennis player named Jack Sock, who he was okay. Never got, I don't even know if he ever broke into the top 10. I doubt it, but he was playing. And I was like, oh, wow. He's his tennis career had ended. Although I think he was only like 33, 34, which for tennis, you got to be really good to keep playing at that age. But yeah, he was playing and he was a tremendous underdog in this match. And I was just like, I'd never heard of the other guy. And I was like, this guy literally is beating a professional tennis player at pickleball. And I know they're not the same, but it was still, racket sports. And I was like, wow, this is actually taking off. And I feel like everybody in Europe who plays paddle looks at pickleball and they're just like, oh, stupid Americans and their pickleball.
Yeah. No, a couple of years behind. One thing I realized that I didn't know existed, but I got told it does by, I think it was like, what's like the 60-minute news thing on TV? Is it CBS?
60 minutes.
Is it by CBS though, or have I just made that up?
Yep.
Yeah. I was just on for some reason, and there's like a banana baseball team thing. Have you seen?
Oh yeah, yeah.
My wife tells me like they're the biggest thing on TikTok, and like it's just a huge deal now.
Yeah, they like dance during games and stuff like that. Yeah, they're what are they?
They play on stilts. So you got like Savannah Bananas, and they
Savannah Bananas. That's what it is. Yeah.
And I just went on YouTube to just see them. They've got like 3 million subs. And they live stream the games, and the live stream had like 100,000 watching, like after, maybe not concur, but I was just like, what am I seeing?
What am I seeing? Yeah.
I mean, it seems fun. Like I get why people are into it. Just like, spicing up, boring sport, shall we say? I mean, it's the same as what soccer's happening, like all the ballers league and like what PK's doing, like everything's becoming a bit more smaller, shorter, more exciting, and just like, more entertaining.
I will say that for the most part, baseball is incredibly boring. And I always found it funny that people who argue, like big baseball fans who would argue that football was really boring. And the biggest difference with baseball, and it applies to the NFL too, is just there's so much dead time. And so like the actual action minutes is so low. And so the Savannah Bananas have figured out a way to like make the slow time exciting. Yeah. And it's like, oh, yeah, there we go. According to Mike Baston, Jack Sock's career high was number 8 in singles. So he did make the top 10 and number 2 in doubles.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty good. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming in. Stefan Hatling in and Sorare Soul on the podium. Harry, how do you feel about this? The special edition cards having their own utility?
I mean, that's fine. That's been a thing, I guess, hasn't it, for a while?
Yeah. They
That
did it
card
with
set?
the neon Christmas cards. You had to have like a special one. I think these cards are just awesome.
I mean, that's how you generate, these prize pools and stuff. Like they need to go for more than the normal one, just outside of just looks, which is sometimes enough, like visually. But yeah, I think them having the in-game, like built-in, baked-in utilities, the biggest part. Like going to Korea or whatever, or Japan, and once in a lifetime opportunities, all that fun stuff. Like there needs to, there needs to be an uptick in prices on the fun card. So I've got nothing wrong with it because you keep the card for like it's a token at the end of the day eventually at worst, and it's an entry ticket into a fun event at best.
Yeah, I think design wise, they nailed it. They're really really cool.
They're beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah, they really. I think these are some of the nicest cards they've ever had. So
I kind of
GG.
like how they don't have the UK or the English spelling. Like I just like the Korean / Japanese. Yeah, it just looks clean. Like the dragon. Wow. Yeah, it's beautiful. It really is. They've done really, really well there.
Hold on. I didn't see the back of the Japanese ones.
Oh, yeah.
I keep hitting the wrong button. Sorry, guys. I'm an old man. Here we go. Oh, yeah, some more flowers.
Flowers are, yeah, I like the flowers,
This is how we get our wives into Sorare. Right here, guys.
Well,
this is it.
I did show my wife the leak yesterday, the shirts. And she
look
liked
at you
the J-League one.
Getting the early. Oh, I guess that was on Twitter. You would.
Yeah, it was on Twitter. That's the only way I knew about it, to be fair. But yeah, she liked the J-League one more than the K-League.
Those are nice. I don't think I could keep myself from only buying one because you only need one to enter the competition. I think
so as well. Yeah.
I would want 5 just to just go big balls.
Just to flex.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are saying they're going to go do collections, and yeah, there's all sorts you can do.
Yeah. Cosmo. The design team are and always have been the best team in Sorare, the ones that don't get the moron labels. I believe the licensing group is also quite good. What is creditable to Sorare is that each card design that has come out, you have said the best card ever. Yeah, I think they're nailing it.
I mean, even those,
even the baseball ones, I didn't necessarily need. I thought they were cool. I wasn't going to buy them, but these are man, maybe I want to buy some of these.
No, they're really cool.
Oh, I'm sorry. People are saying you need 3 to enter.
3 or 5. Okay.
And then 5 for the next one. All right. That's fine.
Doable.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. Hi to everyone who's coming in. Who else we got here? Philly Dilly, Simo, Mikey Baston, who I think I pulled up already. Gavin Ty, which is funny because you and I got a message from Sam Ty just before we started.
I know, yeah, ironic. Let me just bring the baby in with me. Sorry, he's just woke up.
Wouldn't be a Tuesday stream without it. Let's go.
I know. Just woke up 10 minutes in, of course.
This is what we do. And Scosmo, is anyone not bored of the exact same discussion about DNP subs by now and seen on Twitter again? Not here. Yeah, we're all bored of it, for sure. It is what it is. That's what we got to talk about right now, Scosmo. I guess we have these new cards now. Fantasy Football Ryan said the banana thing was part of my sports marketing course. Yeah, they nailed it. They nailed it. More importantly, what can you two take from Savannah Bananas to get to 3 million subs? That's a good question. It's a good question. Maybe Ryan here can tell us since he already studied it. Anyway, Jao, what's up? Thanks for coming in. Ahmed, ZM Star. The cards are gorgeous. Too expensive though. I mean, they cost what they cost, right? They cost whatever people want to pay for them, and so I don't. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm getting myself a collection. Yeah. Simon said, I read somewhere they've done a study about younger people's attention span with football, and it pointed to future 60-minute games. Can't see it happening, but interesting. I think what you guys need to do, and this is an American telling European people, and maybe it's just the UK. I actually don't know if this applies throughout Europe. And now that I've said that, I think the Germans are on point here. The fact that you can't drink in your seat is wild to me. And I say that as somebody who grew up in the US and we can drink it in our seat in any sporting event. But man, that's how you just get people to sit down for 90 minutes. Simple as that. Except for the occasional bathroom break, of course. Anyway, Mike said the ball is not currently in play for 60 minutes now. Yeah. Contrabass likes the Japanese Korean spelling. Yeah, I like that too. It's funny because like we can't, like we don't know what, most of us don't speak or read Japanese or Korean, so it's not like we can look at a car and be like, oh yeah, that's so and so, because I can read that. But yeah, I love it. Anyway, I think you can play with just commons to win the trip. Is that right? That seems crazy. Any chance we get a Stars and Stripes MLS edition as something similar? Ooh, that would be cool. I feel like they should do something for July 4th. Independence Day is always a big MLS day. Like I think everybody plays on July 4th. And I used to do a weekly MLS podcast, and we would always joke every time around July that the Colorado Rapids have never lost on July 4th. They like own July 4th. And so, but yeah, Stars and Stripes MLS. Surely they would try to do some MLS special edition stuff, because the, like, they have the full league license. They obviously have done it already with Major League Baseball, with the Tokyo series. They're doing it with the J League and K League now. And it could just be that Sorare want to do something and MLS have no interest in it. But, I think that's sometimes part of the reason some things get done, is that the clubs or the leagues are they just aren't interested in that. But, basically taking their IP and changing it. But for the ones that are a little more liberal about it, like we see with the J League and K League, I mean, these cards are awesome. They are really cool. And maybe somebody who is new may not love them as much, but I feel like we're so used to the cards by now that any sort of change looks really great. But I think they really nail these. And I agree, like a Stars and Stripes for MLS would be pretty cool. Parapress, what's up? Stefan Halligan, bench lineups of the way. Sorry, I dropped out here on the chat. There we go. Let's see. Simon said, Harry's going through now what everyone who had a baby during lockdown experienced with Teams calls in 2020. That's a great line, Simon. Toby, what's up? Scosmo said, nothing can ever be called too expensive anymore. That's fair. Johanneton said, you can drink in Germany. Can't drink is a result of 80s to 90s hooliganism, I believe, which I believe that as well. But I don't think, I mean, haven't we figured out? I guess we haven't really figured it out. Simon just ran 10K in 55 minutes for my faculty step group week, going home to die for a minute, then going back to watch. GG's on that. 10K in 55 minutes. Whew. That's how you get people to fight for 90 minutes. All right, that's fair. That's fair. Holty said the reason we can't drink is because we're all treated like thugs when you go to any ground in the UK. All right, so just grow up. How about that? Tom Olivier, that's so and so, my two favorite Korean players. Contenders King. So are we going to is there going to be an opportunity in those game weeks to to like take advantage of Contender? Are a lot of people going to play their best cards in that competition? I mean, it seems like you should do that, meaning you should prioritize those competitions. I'm just going to take Harry's screen off for a second. There we go. So there we go. So the Heritage Edition, yeah, Bled FC, who I'm not familiar with, but that doesn't mean anything really, helped on these designs, which is really cool. And yeah, $60,000 in cash prizes for the two competitions. We have J League and K League split, which is kind of nice, I think, for people who prefer one over the other. But they did a nice video a nice breakdown of what makes the card special, which is kind of nice. And I'm glad they're doing this, because they used to do more of it. Like when the new card designs came out, they would do a whole video about what sort of designs they added in and why, not like why they're important, but basically why they're important. And so, yeah, this is really cool. These individual jerseys are pretty neat. I think it's one of those that, I don't know, I doubt I'd wear it outside. I'd probably hang it up somewhere, probably right back here. But yeah, they're cool. Upcoming prizes and special competitions, market promos, and social media giveaways. Let's go. Joe said the cards really are beautiful. I agree. So let's see. Read on. All right. So the competitions here. We've got a double up promo. Let's see. For every card you buy, guaranteed essence or a card reward, and a 10% chance to unlock a bonus Heritage Edition card. So that's currently going on right now. It started 18 minutes ago through Friday. Daily jersey giveaway. Each day during the promo, one lucky manager who buys a Heritage Edition card will win exclusive Heritage Edition jerseys. I wonder how many they have. Like how many total jerseys. I really like this blue and pink one. This like green, yellow, orange. I get it. Kind of reminds me of the Miami Dolphins. But this pink and blue one, I guess Inter Miami have kind of a jersey like that. But anyway, on Tuesday, May 6th, we'll reward the top collector at that time for each J League and K League limited collection with one of these special jerseys. That's cool. I wonder how I guess there's probably not many ties at the top. Anyway, 2 massive game weeks. Managers will compete for a share of 60,000 in rewards. The first game week is the K League one, which is this weekend coming up, April 18th through the 22nd. 15,000 total and exclusive. Sorare. Are we saying this Harangi? I don't know how to pronounce that. K League cards only. All scarcities are eligible, but no scarcity bonuses. Minimum 3 Harangi. Can somebody help me on that one? I don't know. And then the next one is the J League one, which I assume is the following weekend. Oh, no, it's not till May. Excuse me. May 9th. Wait a minute. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The J League one is this weekend. So, yeah. So, same idea, Sakura cards. And then May 9th through the 13th is the second one, which requires 5 special editions, 5 of these Sakura or Harangi cards. And win $10 in market credits when you get a positive decisive with one of the cards in any of your lineups. Wow. Very cool. And there's more. During the Heritage Event, all J League and K League limited cards that are crafted or won in the Game Week reward will be Heritage Edition cards. Very cool, guys. That is very cool. And then, yeah, I saw this and I legitimately couldn't believe it. Win a 3,000 euro trip to Asia. Oh, sorry, Harry. Have you been there for a while?
No, I literally just come
back. Oh,
you
did? All right. I just looked over and I was like, oh, there he is. Once in a lifetime trip to Japan or Korea, which includes travel.
How long have we waited for that, by the way?
One fan, meaning like you got to go solo?
Oh, so one? Really? They don't give you like a companion?
One lucky manager will unlock a once-in-a-lifetime trip to Japan or Korea to see the J League or K League live. Yes, you read that right. One fan. One unforgettable match day, all expenses covered. Because some things you just have to experience to believe. Simply submit your best lineup. I want to read the terms and conditions.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we pop into the terms and conditions? You've got to be able to bring a buddy, haven't you?
Okay, tickets for 2 people. Well, hold on. So it's travel budget. They got to fix their HTML here. Travel budget up to $3,000. Tickets for 2 people to attend the football match. So you get 2 game tickets, and the 2 of you have to get to Japan or Korea with the $3,000. With this says dollars, but the other one said euros.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah,
depends where you're from, I guess. But you could do it in 3K, can you?
I mean, I'm guessing whoever wins it lives in Tokyo, and they're just like, oh, okay,
pocket it. That's the goal, isn't it? Live there, pocket it.
I bet you can't pocket it. I bet you've
got to show receipts and whatever,
something like that. Yeah.
I
wonder how much it costs for me to go to, let's call it Tokyo.
Go get on Skyscanner. Wow, really? When's that though? This weekend?
Oh, that's true. That's true. Let's do it later in the summer.
Do it when Key's
you have to go.
What'd you say?
Does it say when you have to go? Actually,
it might do, but I don't remember seeing it. I was saying you should go when Key's back because he's out injured, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it doesn't get any cheaper.
Jesus Christ, from New York as well. I didn't expect it to be that expensive, but okay.
I mean, New York to Tokyo is really far.
It is, but it'd be worse. Like I'd have to do a connection. I'd have to get to New York first, probably.
You're right.
Like
Yeah.
at least you're in like the main sort of
Yeah, I
airport
can do some
ish.
nonstops on Japanese
Right.
airlines for $2,000.
That's insane.
And
Flights are crazy.
that's like economy. What's
Do
first
flights.
class cost? $25,000.
Pranksy can afford that after his weekend again.
Yeah, right. It generally amazes me that there are enough people in the world that can pay $25,000 for a single flight that they can
Weird,
just
isn't it?
charge that. But it is what it is. We just wonder why those people aren't buying JPEGs.
I know. They've just got bigger fish to fry, apparently.
Yeah,
luxury travel to spend on.
Do you think this is something they'll do more often?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough, isn't it? Because you've got to find the right balance, I think, between making things exclusive and having enough to keep people engaged. Like, when was the last time we had like a proper once in a lifetime, opportunity type of thing that's like, obtainable through, like a comp. I can't remember that there might have been one. I just can't really remember it.
What was the Anfield one? How did you get into that one? Was that a collector event?
The
second one, not the first one. The second was once in a lifetime.
Yeah, the second once in a lifetime was, I think, more collection. Like it was, like more open to anyone that has X collection of Liverpool. But the first one was like, obviously a couple of creators and whatever, but also it was collection, but it was more like they just like message you behind the scenes.
Yeah.
From what I'm,
They're like, you own 5 Liverpool cards, come to Anfield.
Yeah, like I think they just messaged Jim and was like, Jimmy, you have like 1 billion Liverpool cards.
Yeah.
Like, do you fancy doing this type of thing? And I think they did that with like Tom C, because I think Tom was a Liverpool fan. Same for a lot of them that were there. So I don't know, but the second one, you're right, did work a little bit different, didn't it? It was more like front facing.
Yeah, and I feel like they did a La Liga one. Was it like Valencia or Villarreal? I get those clubs mixed up all the time. Apologies if that's like
you're right. But then like the whole like having like a new card edition is the biggest thing for me. Like that's where you grab everything, rather than just doing an opportunity to go to Spain. But like if the cards are the same cards you're using, okay, it costs less, but you can't really put up like big prize pools to go along with that, because you're not generating extra revenue from new card designs and stuff. And I like that. Like I've still got my Game Week 200 Suso. Like I've had that for years now.
I won Koke, I believe. Okay. And when I got rid of all my limiteds, that was with it. And I was like, wish I had kept that.
Because I remember Stish won Rodrigo like a while. Like this was before Rodrigo like popped off a little bit as well. So whether he has him, he probably still has him. But yeah, that was fun. Obviously, John had like the Parejos. It was just like a fun thing, wasn't it? It was just like, and obviously they had the ticket version as well, didn't they? I remember that being a thing.
Yep. Yeah, Dobbs, you're right. They did do a Milan one, the flying on the plate.
But that was like you could only use Milan cards or something. It was very sort of exclusive to Milan collectors, which I guess makes sense. Like I'm not opposed to that, but I think making it like league wide, if they can, is where it's at, isn't it? Because there's everyone can get involved if you want, and you don't have to be like a specific AC fan or whatever. Which again, there's room for that. I just think these big opportunities, the cat fucking honestly.
Is that through the window? It looked like it came in through the window, like from outside.
Might have just been up there. Can you not?
Which is really funny because it looked like the cat came in through the window.
I mean, he obviously came through the blinds, but I didn't know he was there. I don't know, genuinely.
Just to confirm, that is your cat, though?
It's my wife's. I've adopted it.
Sure.
It wasn't part of
just making sure it wasn't some rogue cat that popped in through the window and you're just...
No, it's not. Scoop, can you get down, please, mate? I don't need you up there.
That's such a cat thing to do. Just staring at you. Just
assert dominance from the highest point of the room. That's what he's doing. And he wants to get up here.
Oh, I bet.
Because it's even higher. But if he does do that, he's going to die because that won't hold his weight. He's like 20 pounds.
I think he's definitely going to do it. I think this is what the stream is from now on.
He's never been up. Genuinely, he's never done that. He does go behind the curtain, but he's never.
What is he sitting on?
Just like a mini fridge.
Oh, that is the smallest mini fridge I've ever seen. Does it have to hold like one can of something?
No, you can get a couple in.
Really?
You can get a couple in.
That must be just a big cat. Ah,
there we go.
boo.
He's been a naughty boy the last couple of weeks, so
I really did wanted to see him try it and try to get up.
He is a bit of a daredevil, but I've never seen him try that. If he does, he's dead to me, genuinely.
That Liverpool shirt is hitting the floor. I thought it was going to swipe at the shirt too. That's so funny.
Oh, I'd have a swipe. Yeah. He loves a swipe. Nah, he's actually a really good cat normally, but that was naughty hours.
Gonna have to change the title and add Scoot to the guest list.
It's Scoot, like scooter.
Oh, Scoot. All right.
Yeah.
Contrabus said I deposited $15 thinking I'd be able to get a couple of these cards.
Silly me.
Yeah, no chance.
Are they going for astronomical amounts, or do we not? Like, are they done?
No. I mean, let's see. This one has $6. Okay. Is only $3.50. If you really wanted some, you could get some.
Yeah. Do you think how many of each card do you expect them to do, Laird, if you had to guess?
Why can't I pick both here?
You could just by going click limited, and then I don't know whether that works.
I guess, yeah. Like Cecina right now is at $45. I don't know what Cecina. There's no way a Cecina limited is going for $45 right now.
Not in his current state, is it?
Yeah, $11.
11. Okay. What do you reckon it gets to? 100?
That's no.
I think it could, you know. Ball bagger.
The problem, so that Cecina card becomes one of those things that you have to explain. You're like, no, this was the first one, and somebody's gonna be like, yeah, but there's 20 of them. You're like, this is the first one, and they're like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, that's funny. It would be nice if
12 when he's been going for 3. Oh yeah, Mike shared that.
5x maybe 5 to 10x.
Yeah,
potentially.
Bouncy, your king Alexander Schultz is very far from the J League these days.
He's held hostage in Qatar or Dubai, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, R.I.P. Schultz.
If that cut jumps and misses, the show will be up there with the pineapple.
It would have been unbelievable. He has had that before. He has had a few failed stunts that have happened, not in my room, but definitely in the place.
I feel like there should be some sort of Scoot lineup picking stream where you put like 2 cards up and see which one he like goes towards.
That could be quite fun because, believe it or not, you can kind of talk to him.
I'm sure,
and he gives it back as well. Only when he wants treats, obviously.
Well,
on his terms.
Yeah, same. To be honest.
Yeah, I get it.
What do you think about them only doing it for limited? As I laughed at Sean for saying he couldn't wait to see what the uniques look like.
When he typed it, I was like, I've got a feeling it's just going to be limited. I didn't know. And it's just like, of course it's just limited, right? Like, it scales better. And, you could argue, yeah, maybe Rays should have it because the upsell could be a bit, steeper. But at the same time, it just muddies the water, doesn't it? Because it means they have to make 2 different comps. And, like, that's the big issue. And it's like, well, why would you buy the rare version that's 20x the limited? Like, if you're getting the same entry, that's kind of the issue, isn't it? So I get why they don't, but at the same time, yeah, it's a bit of a kick in the balls in a way if you don't play limiteds. But
I think they just have so much more flexibility because let's say they do 20 limiteds, or I have no idea. It seems like they're going to do a lot, but maybe it is. Yeah. Maybe it turns out to only be 20 per player. Are you really going to do 2 for rares at the same
scale? Does it?
And you're not going to have a competition for it,
right?
So yeah, I don't know. Rascal says it's a spit in the face for players of higher scarcities. I disagree.
It is, but then you could argue, well, those higher scarcity players, should have the budget to just go and buy that card then in some roundabout way. Like if they want to do it, I know it's not the same scarcity as what they play, but
yeah. So the way that I look at it is, if you want to buy the cards because they're cool,
right?
You can do that. You could play exclusively unique, and you're like, these cool cards are really cool. I want to buy them. You can buy them. Like, it's okay. It's all right. You don't have to buy them just because they happen to be in a competition that allows them. Like,
so do I need, if I was to buy 3 and my other 2, do they have to be in season cards, the other 2?
I mean, I think you know the answer to that.
Do they really? Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I just can't remember anyone saying that, honestly.
Let's look, but I would be
Because I
shocked.
want to load up Nishikawa and Højbjerg. Have you seen Højbjerg's scores?
It's the one I never got.
He's like the best defender in the game.
It's crazy. It does just say minimum 3 heritage cards. Oh, wait, here we go. 2025 cards only.
No, of course.
It's
Okay.
in, like, they're so cheap. Just buy a 5th one. Like, I get it that people are all upset about this, but for this competition, just deal with it.
No, I do. I get it for sure.
You can get a Fukumori for $2.
True. Yeah. The extras aren't going to cost you an arm and a leg, are they? Really? You probably do the goalie, goalie, and then maybe the strikers and normals, and then defender, mid, extras. Like if you wanted to do it on the cheap.
Right. Mikey Baston's on the Hoy Brayton train.
Nice. Not played him once this season.
Capitalizing his name.
Yeah, maybe. On SD, I remember seeing a normal name, maybe.
No, SD. He's still not all caps.
Oh.
But I mean, the cards are all caps anyway.
That's so weird.
But yeah, how about that? Good for him.
Right, Laird. What's the first thing you're doing? You're gonna take over from Nicholas in August. August 1st, you start. Fly you business class to France. All expenses paid, and you just get to sit in his office for 6 months and just conceptualize. And well, you probably have to go before August for this to kick in, when the season starts. But yeah, summer. You go there in June. Or 2 months. What is the first couple of things that you would do to steady the 25, 26 Sorare ship?
I make all super rare competitions cash prizes.
Wow. Even classic.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then in seasons, just more cash?
More cash.
That's one that maybe I haven't heard of. Maybe it's been spoken about for sure, but I get it. There's enough cards to sell, as in if you don't reward them, at that point, because you're only rewarding 6. Yeah, selling 6, rewarding 4 at this point.
Yes.
Okay, so there's only 4 being rewarded anyway. Do you make more from just selling everything and just obviously putting up cash than you would? Would you argue maybe the classic side doesn't need a jackpot and it's just like basically the same everywhere, like top 30 or whatever they do, and then in seasons where like the jackpot is?
Yeah, I like that idea. I hadn't thought about that. I think the difficulty with prize pools for the most part is I love how everybody's like,
they love it.
Where are you getting the cash? I don't know, man. I just
sell the cards. Why?
I think one of the biggest frustrations for people who play super rare, and I realize there are just not that many people who play super rare, but part of the reason they don't play super rare is because the prizes are so, I don't want to just say they're bad, because they're unfulfilling. Very few people win a super rare and are happy about it. They're just like, oh, here's another guy. And I realize there are plenty of people with limited and rare the same way, but super rare is just I think and I haven't spent, I have 2 months before my flight. But I just don't feel like they have spent enough kind of mind resources in fixing super rare competitions. And they've made it very clear previously that they now recognize that it's a totally different game, and what they do for limited and rare doesn't apply to super rare. And frankly, I think that they know that even rare and limited is very different now, but they're close enough that they can kind of run them the same way. But super rare is just totally different. And I don't see how they can fix any of it without paying out cash. Now, they could also just say, we're not fixing it. That we're selling super rares fine and in season, and like that's on them, that's fine. But there really seems to be so few people who look at the super rare division and say, I would like to play there. Now, I say that there certainly are some, like Didi's here in the chat. Like, we know Didi plays super rare. And I know Az from Make It a Double Double is like going in on super rare. And Surfula is playing super rare the whole time. Gator Guy like focuses on super rare. So it's not like nobody is playing, but I know plenty of people who play rare, and the idea of going to super rare, like there's no reason for them to do it. And when I got into super rares, that's the most fun that I had on this platform, because it's so scarce. Even the card acquisition part of it is so different from the rest of the game. Like, if you want to play limiteds, you can get any card you ever want. There's no thought at all. And in rare, sometimes there's a guy that's not minted that much. But ultimately, like, you can get it. But like in super rare, you really can't. It's an elusive game, and it's not for everyone, and I get it. But selfishly, but it's my show. I feel like I would love if I looked at my super rares and thought, I'd like to make these better, or I'd like to really put some resources in and chase these cards that I want, because that's a really fun part of the game. Like Keith and I've talked about for years. Like the card acquisition part of the game is the most fun for us, and trying to get super rares is a whole nother battle that is exciting and is just totally gone from the game now.
Yeah, I think Surfula speaks about that as well, doesn't he? Like it always, for him, at that scarcity is like, especially the Argentina cards. Again, you're like a niche within a niche, or like scarce, card, a league within a scarcity sort of thing, and there's just less of them, right? But yeah, I get it. I do. Would you be willing to? I guess if it is just cash everywhere, you willing to spend more at that point? You'd have to be, right?
So that's what I was going to say before about the prize pools. Is you obviously can't reasonably offer jackpots in a same competition where you can just like grind little rewards, and they're trying to do that, certainly with limited, where it's like, hey, $1,500 up top, and everyone between 50th and 9,000th wins $5. And I think that I feel like they will change that for next season, just because it does feel a little wild. It feels like a threshold at that point. And just like, oh no, everybody beat this score. The score this week was 380, and everyone above it got at least $5. But so with the super rare thing, like they have to figure out, and I think you kind of mentioned it before, in season is where you jackpot, and classic is just kind of where you can just grind your money back over time.
It is interesting. I just, what would be like, let's say the in-season super rare, let's just call it challenger, they're giving away $5,000. Like, what goes into classic? Like, what's the ratio? Is it?
No, you're not wrong.
10x less? Is it 5x? Like, how much resources do they put in? Is obviously what they'd be thinking.
I think so. People who don't play super rare and unique, and I don't play unique, but people who don't play those scarcities get really pissed at this idea. But I genuinely thought that they could still do a threshold for those two scarcities, and maybe threshold's not the right method now, but even if you did some sort of streak or something, but like super rare it just feels like an afterthought now. It's like one division, everybody throws their stuff in. I don't care about it because my supers are not good enough to win, but I also don't have to I don't have to worry about relegation. And so I'm just like throwing stuff in, and there's no fun with super rare.
If this, like, for me, like when I'm building lineups right now, let's say, obviously under 23, I do quite religiously, but challenger, like if I didn't have like 3D ones like everyone does in super right now, because there's no divisions, like I genuinely just can't get up for just like say if I had a D2 and a D3, like a couple of months ago, where there was divisions in Super Rare, like I just couldn't get up for putting in a lineup. Like it would just be the afterthought of the afterthoughts. Whereas now, knowing that like top 3 still gets a bit of cash, obviously there's cards there as well, like that double bubble. I know they're trying to eradicate that. It seems a lot, especially in MLS. Like I really hope as like another thing, if you were in office or if I was, like I really hope they don't get rid of the podium cash for Classic. And I know that's everyone's going to say that, but at the same time, like I think like optically it's massive that that's still there.
So I agree with you, but probably not for the same reason.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I feel, certainly at the super rare level, because you can finish on the podium and end up with an absolutely garbage reward, the podium cash like almost makes up for it.
Yeah.
But they continue to have issues with super rare prize pools in terms or tiers. And part of it is that, again, there's just like not that much supply. You can't give away a Yamal every other week. And so I understand that, but also it just feels like, and maybe they've cut down on it. I haven't won a super rare in forever, but maybe they've cut down on the number of guys who are really tier 4s and are showing up in tier 2. But it just feels like the number of dead super rares that they reward is just a killer, including in podium spots. And so the cash, the cash makes sense.
Softens up.
Josh said in-season super is in a decent spot right now, but there is intense pressure to perform there because you know how useless classic super rares are, which I kind of agree with that. I very briefly thought about playing Contender in season. It was in December, January, and I was going to buy some Liga MX ones, which only have utility until May anyway. And I just I couldn't convince myself that I could make enough money because so few people win in super rare. Philly Dilly said, I'd be fun with all money to in-season, all essence to classic. I think the problem is they just don't have enough cards. Like they're just not enough super rares. And obviously the amount of essence they're giving away, like they know what that turns into. But I don't know. I feel like they need non-cash prizes. I mean, excuse me, non-card prizes. And cash is obviously the easiest one. And if they follow baseball and all of a sudden energy becomes one, then you can start using them. And Philly Dilly said, fine with money in season, but go back to this two classics.
Yeah. They're not going to go back on that, are they?
I don't even that doesn't move the needle for enough people, I feel like.
I agree. No, I agree. But I just can't see them I don't know. I just don't see them reverting that one, even if even if all the cash did move. But yeah, I don't know. I do worry for that. I do worry about because you mentioned it. What John said, it's just like the cards winning. That sort of analogy. It's just like, it just gets a bit boring after a while. There's no carrot to chase because it's an unknown carrot at best, like the card reward, as we know. And like you said, it's super rare. It's very, the tops are, really high, but there's just too many bad cards that you can win in good spots is the big issue. Sell them all and just go all out cash. I think I'm in with you, Laird.
Yeah, and I think anybody at Sorare is like the response is, well, yeah, that's ridiculous. Like we can't, but there's not enough money to do it. Which, like, fair.
I like what you said about the threshold though, like a cheeky little classic super rare threshold. It doesn't even have to be big. By big, obviously, it's subjective, but I think that could be that just keeps them alive, doesn't it? In some way,
it feels
classics
that way.
Alive.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels that way to me, but I mean, I don't know. Like I'm looking here. Oh, it happened to be a Gator Guy week. That's funny. But like, this is game week 18. It was in the middle of October, and like Davinson Sanchez is the podium reward, and I know he's
decent, yeah,
fine, but
that got
surely the cash he won was better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Does this guy play? I don't even know.
No, he got injured. I think maybe he's back now. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, like you won that for second place.
Yeah.
And when you won it, what did I say? It was a game like 18. Like these were the scores beforehand.
Yeah, he hadn't really played for Ajax.
Like,
He is a good young kid, but yeah.
How is he a tier
Bakayoko's
1?
probably worse.
Right.
Because he's been horrendous this year, Bakayoko. Like just off
Yeah.
previous years.
Yeah. Now, granted, this was what, October, I said?
Yeah.
So we didn't know he was terrible yet. But it's just, I don't know. It just, there's the biggest selling point of playing super rare is that you're competing against many, like such a smaller number of people versus rare or limited. The problem is that the prizes are not comparable. Like the top rare prizes are much more attractive than, I mean, the top super rare prizes are obviously very attractive, but they're rewarded so infrequently just because of the scarcity that I feel like you need something else to pull people there. Ian said, I don't play super rare, but I agree. You need to pump prizes in there because the sales of those players filter down the scarcities. A couple huge super rare sales cover a limited comp for the game week. Yeah, I don't think that the sales filter down. Like genuinely, we see some super rares go for like 1.5x rares. Like people don't.
Yeah, there's a detachment now, isn't there? Where previously maybe there wasn't. There was a bit more of a everyone kept an eye on those sort of things, like from a scarcity perspective. But just he says it there about the MLS stuff. Like, yeah, if they do end up emulating it, like I scored like 450 this weekend in Super MLS. I'm getting like 4 or 5 Essence. There's like whatever, but I don't know. There's just to do that 4 or 5 times just to even get on the tier 5 plus, Essence, craft or whatever. It's just like it's just a tough sell. Like it really is, and yeah, it does make you not want to buy more classics, obviously, because 2 people win cards. I know there's like Essence that drops down, but like 2 people are winning cards in an MLS Super Rare game week right now, and it's just like it's just so demoralizing. Like it's so less attractive than in season. It's just like beyond the joke, which I get because they're making money from it. We get it, but it's just too much of a contrast for me. I just don't see they need to level the playing field a little bit more.
I'm trying to see where the new prize pool. Do they hide that stuff now? Like this new redesign, I have no idea where the prize pools are.
No, you can go next game week or even view results if you want, and it'll take you back to like the page where you see all your lineups, I believe.
Yeah, I wanted to see it for this weekend.
For the upcoming, and then you should be able to click into one of these, and then
I wanted because Contender's like really big right now, and this is the one I was going to play, but like Contender Super Rare. So I guess 45 people win cash.
Challenger was only 30 this week. I know Contender is bigger, but like that's 50% bigger. That's nuts. As in like the tail goes down.
Yeah. This is actually more than I thought. I just remember earlier I felt like it was like if I don't finish in the top 10, I'm dead.
Like it is relative. I mean, it is attractive but just the classic one just isn't.
Yeah, Didi was talking about the 2 people in MLS. The problem is like, isn't the MLS prize pool big enough that you can, like, instead of a tier 3, you're just getting Essence for a tier 3?
Yeah, instead of a tier 2, you get an Essence technically.
So like in season 3 Essence.
Challengers double that, so 30 places. Right now.
Yeah, this is just MLS, so it's it'll be smaller. But can I not go to?
The issue is they've got that beat the target thing, and it's just.
So
I called it out in the thing, didn't I? When I did the podcast with Keith and the Sorare guys, I said it just like without doing the math, it's just kind of obvious that 600 points at Super Rare is just bonkers.
Yeah.
I don't care what if Messi play. I don't care. It's just ridiculous. And they've obviously drawn it back already, but even 550 is a bit of like it's still I get it needs to be a lot. Like I'm not stupid. I get it, but like there's a lot, and then there's just stupid a lot, and no one's buying enough to do that. Like I'm playing my 4-1 every week in Super MLS because I have good classic. Like I don't have a comparable. I just don't want to spend the money. Like I probably have the money to maybe buy one more at a push to go 5, but like I don't. The nugget's not there, or the carrot's not there for me to do that. It's not.
I think one of the things that I kind of underestimated with MLS, like the the streak thing for limited and rare, and I've only played limited. The streak itself is not big enough to make people keep playing, and they do it. Like I started playing because of it, and I was like, that's fun. I'll try to do that, whatever. These extra competitions now where if you get to 3 by May and you get to 5 by whenever it is, September, like those prize pools are big. And I wonder if this is another one of those examples of older users on the platform just kind of used to winning all the time, meaning every game week you win something.
Yeah.
And I'm as guilty as that as anybody. Like I had a horrific game week last week and was having a terrible one this game week until yesterday. And it's not like I'm having a great game week, but it like saved my game week. And MLS, it's almost like the streak feels kind of the grindy part of it. But then it's like, if you are good at the grindy part of it, hey, now you have this big competition that you can go for. And I wonder if Sorare want users to be more used to that, of not winning that much early on. And then, oh, wait, but we have this jackpot, like giving away a jackpot every week isn't doable. And so the amount is not high enough where we're like, oh, that's a jackpot. It's a jackpot because normally people are winning $5 and one person's winning 1,500. And you're like, oh, okay. But I wonder if that's where Sorare would go, for the European season of, oh yeah, we're going to do this streak and the prize pools are not going to be that great. But if you're good over time, you qualify for this other competition. And like, that's where you'll really make money. And the only thing I'll say to that is, and DraftKings, I think, does this with King of the Pitch. And if anybody plays there, you can correct me, but I'm fairly certain that in King of the Pitch, everybody wins something. Like you qualify. So it's basically a qualifier tournament. It's a big tournament at the end of the season. You have to win competitions to win a ticket into this competition, which is basically the same thing as streak. You get to 3, right. You get your, what did they call it, badge or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because we haven't seen the prize pool, if everyone in that competition wins some cash, I think then people may look at it a little differently. Like, oh, I really want to get into that. But if you can qualify for that tournament and still not win anything, like for MLS right now, I don't even know what the streaks are. Like, what's the third streak? $10.
That was, yeah.
So for limited, it's $3, $10, and $10. One of them comes with market credit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Actually, is that second one? Is that just market credits? I'm like looking at it here. Like it's 10 with a asterisk. But anyway,
yeah.
Let's say you get to the 3rd level and you win your badge or whatever they call it. Like you've won $23 and then you go into this special tournament and win nothing. Like that's not a great experience. Like I feel like the prize pool needs to be big enough where people are like, not that you're not happy to enter a competition that not everybody gets to, but okay. Moso said second one is $5 market credits and $5 cash. Yeah. So $18 I'm winning from getting the 3rd streak, which clearly is so hard that they had to lower it. I came up less than 10 points short on 2 lineups this week. So I'm back to 0. And they need this competition to feel like getting in is enough of a reward.
It's like auto $50 or whatever,
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, the issue is they can't even not advertise that necessarily, but they're not going to, like, have they told us how much that prize pool is going to be, or is it just right now a mystery? Because it was a mystery very early on, and then it became like less of a mystery because we knew how to get in. And then I still don't know if we know exactly what they're giving away.
Didi said, I never liked the look of the streaks personally when they were announced. Felt like most underestimated how tough they'd be, and the values paid were low. So I agree. I thought the values were way too low, but getting high enough to enter a competition, a significantly smaller competition, meaning eligible people who are entered to win cash, that made it more attractive to me. Like that's when I bought another goalie and like that's when I decided, oh, I will go for that, and it's been a disaster, but that's more on me. And so it's just like I don't know what I think what people have to do, and especially if Sorare use this strategy in Champ next year or whatever, is you can't just look at how much you get for each streak. You have to know what the big tournament pays out, and then
Minimum
that goes into part of your consideration.
Yeah, completely agree. But I worry that they wouldn't be able to give us that information, beforehand. Maybe they should. I don't know.
I don't know.
I agree with you that should be the case, because then you bake that in, then don't you, to your sort of expected value or whatever.
Yep.
I don't know. I hope they don't bring it into Europe. I really do. Like, as in, like, I don't think it works well enough.
I don't know.
It would be easier because MLS scores this year have been really bad. Like, without diving into it too much, I look at them, on a weekly basis, but like, it's tough to get good scores. Like, it can. I'm not saying it can't happen with a big enough gallery, but like, just players just aren't popping off as much as like they kind of used to. Like, we were used to. Remember, you had to have MLS midfielders and defend or whatever it was. In the Challenger days, it just feels. I know it's on its own now. It's different, but I don't know. It just feels like the scores have been diluted for whatever reason across the board, which means then the streak's even harder. But like I said, in Europe, I think it would be easier because you've got like way more teams to choose from, way more leagues, if we're talking champ or whatever. I don't know. I do hope they don't bring that in. But I'm going to propose my sort of favorite. Go on.
Just before you do.
Yeah.
This is where Sorare content has gotten, that we're live watching an auction for a limited card. But Cecini's at $45, but untouched in the last 41 minutes. So,
is he going to be a little snipe? Maybe. 40 is a lot though, ish. 45
for a limited card of a guy who's just absolute dust.
Just cannot score. I'm surprised Hoodwink isn't in on that. Kind of.
Maybe he's the sniper. We'll see.
True.
All right, hit us with your, since I have one idea and that took 45 minutes.
So my idea is, of course, the in-season under-23 comp. We've been, waiting for that, I think, for a long time now. It's the missing puzzle of the competition's dashboard, I think. Like, it just, we have an in-season comp for every other comp right now other than All-Star, and I know under-23's global, so, you can shut me down there. But I think it does a lot for under-23 in-season cards where for the most part, you're only using the best of the best in other comps. You're only using Xavi Simons, Bellingham's. And I know there is a lot of the under-23 cards, your Verts, Musialas, or Lises. There's a lot of them. But what about the next tier down, There's no real space for those cards, really. If they had their own competition, I'm not saying, under-23 wouldn't be dominated by the big guns. Like, of course, they're going to be playing there. But at least, the overall under-23 sphere of cards and tiers, from 3 up, let's call it, I know should carry a premium. Whether that offsets enough for them to, make it a nice enough prize pool, I don't know. But I think there's something to that, because then, like, even those, the super young under-23 cards, you buy when he's 19, you use him for in season for 1 year, and then you've got him for 4 years of classic. Then for under-23, never mind the rest of his career. I don't know. I just think it just gives a bit more. It just does, increase their value. By how much we the prize pool would dictate that, but I think it's missing. I think that could really, because everyone, I know they nearly got rid of it, but like, there's so many people that love under-23s on Sorare. Never mind, I know it's coming from me. This it's been a part of my whole gallery for so long now. But even from an unbiased perspective, I think it's an untapped part of the game where Sorare may be treating it as like an afterthought. Like with All-Star, whereas like I think it should be like at the front, sort of leading the way to some degree.
So the first time you mentioned this, I thought that you were completely right, that it seems silly that they would not have this. And nothing has changed my mind on that. It seems so easy to think that it's something they should do. And particularly because as Sorare has kind of developed over the last few years, under-23 was always was always popular. And I think part of the reason it was popular is because Mbappe was there and you could win Mbappe, and it was another place you could win the top cards. Obviously, like Bellingham is there now, Yamal. And every conversation that I see or hear about under 23s is somebody referencing a price, and somebody's like, wait, but is that the in season? And they were like, yeah. And it's like, don't buy in. There's no reason to buy the in season under 23. And when you won Yamal, and then you got this huge trade where you ended up with a classic Yamal, and part of that was because who did you do the trade with?
Bambi.
Bambi wanted to play in season. Like Yamal is good enough to play in regular competitions anyway.
Right.
But there was always this kind of U23 premium on cards. And in a single move of we're not going to have in-season U23, it just disappeared. Or in-season U23 cards became less valuable than classic ones because the XP was down, and yeah, you get your 5% bonus. But it just feels like under 23 was in the fabric of Sorare. And a lot of Sorare was, and again, I think this is kind of a result of how Sorare grew versus how they wanted to play. But you have guys in the Eredivisie and Jupiler and J League and K League, and they have these young guys, and eventually they go to the Prem and La Liga, and you're like, oh, I knew that guy when he was at whatever. And that push almost disappeared when they when they essentially relegated U23 to classic only. And it just feels like there would be a maybe even a bigger premium. Yeah, I feel like there would be a bigger premium on the prices of U23 in-season U23 cards to if they had an in-season competition. But do you think that it's almost a negative that you would win cash with them? Because like part of playing U23 is like winning the next great U23 player, or it's just the same as everything else. It's like, oh no, cash is awesome, just go buy him anyway.
Yeah, I think that's fine enough as long as you've got, a back end of classics like a lot of people already do, with under 23. So you play them both. But I was just thinking then, like, I know it's going to cost Sorare more money, right? They need to put up prize pools, but you could obviously offset that with the price of these cards going up theoretically. But also, like, would you take right now for there never to be another special outside of these outside of this J and K League one where they like make new cards, right? The one where they do like specialist in season, for a specific weekend, which I'll say I love playing those things, but I would definitely take away any cash, that's allocated for the season for specials outside of, like I said, card designs, new ones for under 23. Have that as the comp every weekend. They don't. Have I just solved the accounting sheets of Sorare there? Because
that goes into like another idea that you and I like kicked about. I think the biggest change I would make if I were in charge is I would get rid of midweek game weeks. And I appreciate they make a big deal out of them with the Champions League, and you want to have the best player. Stars will be stars because you can win. I know that there are people who really like the midweek stuff, and it's usually the people who have like Bayern stacks when they just like smack Victoria Pilsen in the Champions League and they can win. But and maybe it's just me, but I've grown this significant apathy towards midweeks. Not that I don't check lineups, I still submit lineups and everything, but those lineups become a chore, and also kind of a reminder of when I used to love midweeks and the way that the game is now that I just can't love them. And again, this is a me problem, but like the number of South American cards I have and all of the Copa Libertadores and Sudamericana matches are now, oh yeah, go play an all-star. And it's like, all right, well, I have 9 goalies for 2 spots. And they're like, yeah, All-Star, where the worst prizes are. And it's just stuff like that. And obviously, stars will be stars. They're telling me, get rid of those cards and go get Kimmich and Mbappe and Jude. But I just feel like they're the midweeks almost cause more problems than they solve. And like we saw last week with the Conference League stuff, when they decided that these matchups are too lopsided, even though they're like the 17th worst match or 17th worst lopsidedness versus any Celtic match. But I think just from a gameplay perspective, and honestly, a bit of an effort perspective, allow those like basically become double game weeks. That the game week is Tuesday to Tuesday or whatever we want to do, and you get the highest score of either the Champions League game or your weekend game. It significantly reduces the stress on Sorare players who, oh, my guy is going to play this midweek. Now I don't know if he's going to play on the weekend, or do I play him in the mid, or he didn't play in the midweek. Now nobody likes that part. And if you can eliminate all of the cash that they are distributing for these Champions League stuff and make the prize pools bigger, or add U23 in season, or add some sort of threshold or a streak or whatever, it just feels easier. And I think the game week, I liked, and again, just me, I liked midweeks when I could take advantage of them. And now the cards that I have that I used to take advantage of are a disadvantage for me at this point. But it just feels like there's always a part in the calendar where people are upset about the midweeks. They're like, oh, if Kimmich plays now, then he's going to miss that matchup this weekend against whoever's at the bottom of the Bundesliga. And like, that's not a positive experience. It's not, I don't know. I feel like my mindset has changed a lot on Sorare recently in terms of trying to eliminate as many negative feelings as possible about it. And you've kind of said it for years. Like, you prefer Sorare when it's, let me pick the 5 best performers, not let me pick the 5 guys who are going to play. And I'm just guessing who the 5 guys, and I feel like eliminating midweeks and allowing all of those prizes to be paid out on weekends. And part of me, old me, would have been like, well, that's not fair because we're not going to win as much because you're cutting out the number of times you can win by half. And now I'm here saying, like, I think that's okay.
I completely agree with you. Brad said it there. 7-day game weeks would eliminate the majority of DMPs. Are getting rid of, midweeks, the antidote that we're all trying to, desperately come up with for DMPs. It's not rolling locks. It's not like, whatever subs. It's actually just don't have the midweeks and just pile them into double game weeks. I know, yeah, like you said, a Champions League player, his score would then count in Champion or Prem. I get it, but then there's a premium to that because he's having 2 games. Like, there's actually, in a weird way, like, does that increase his? I mean, I know he might not play both, but Kimmich does. You're getting a double game week out of Kimmich. Does that make him too powerful? Maybe, but I think that offsets the amount of DMPs you would not have to worry about, and it just makes for more fun. As in, like, you're just not having to worry. The less things you have to worry about before the game kicks off, the better. I think in these type of games, in my opinion. And I know there's still going to be strategy involved and whatever, but the whole worry about, is he going to play? Is he not? You're eliminating that for these midweeks where, like Brad says, that is why a lot of these, we get caught out with rotations a lot of time.
So Don said they would kill engagement with that. Don, there is, like, my biggest disengagement from Sorare is midweek competitions.
Right now, yeah. I was Mr. Midweek. Like, that was my nickname on this game for a couple of years because I used to take advantage. Like you said, I used to take advantage of that. And it's not as fruitful anymore, which is fine. But at the same time, they're just, for me, they are just really dull, even from like, yeah, I just can't get up for them anymore. Genuinely, just shove those prizes on the weekend, eliminate the whole rotation problem that you have when teams play in a midweek and weekend. And I think you're a happier Sorare player personally overall. I do.
I completely agree with you, and I think they can still I don't think they're all of the daily missions that they have now and everything. I think they use that for engagement. Like you can still come back, whatever the daily stuff is, and maybe they add real prizes in there here and there. But like saying they would kill engagement by getting rid of midweek game weeks, I think is comes with the belief that everybody's really engaged with midweeks, and I just don't think for a lot of people they are. Johannaton's asking if we would increase the number of entries if we didn't have midweeks, and I think this brings up another one, and I don't sorry to go out of order here, but I can't remember who has brought this up in the live chat before, but someone has mentioned the idea of you can submit as many entries as you want, but you only win one. Like your top lineup gets put on the leaderboard, but that's it.
Even in season.
I don't know if I like the idea yet, to be honest, but I think at some point they have to do it because there are just too many entries and not enough rewards.
Yeah, you're right. It's inflationary, right? Like our lineups go up in amounts each, year on year, but the rewards can't. They just stay static, right? Because we're fixed to a scarcity. So yeah, that problem, if not already, will arise. Yeah, I get that's we've brought that up already, but I that just makes I know
Doesn't that make stars?
Yeah, that's the thing. It makes them even better. Which is that a problem for some?
Right.
It might be a problem if you can't afford him.
It's like if you have a Kimmich, not only do you have the best scoring, one of the best scoring
midfielders,
and you get 2 shots every week. I get it, but
there's only so many of cards like him though, Laird. Like there's Kimmich plays every game. Like there's not many like stars that like do that. Like there is rotations in Real Madrid. Bellingham rotated this weekend. Like you will get caught off guard. Most of the like a lot of the time. There's only so many Kimmiches, and okay, you could argue, but then that just puts him on a pedestal where it's like just ridiculous compared to everyone else. Maybe I get it. It's not ideal, but I think I'd prefer that than like him being benched. And I don't my weekend's ruined because I had him in the midweek where I didn't even win anything anyway. But, like that's just the thing I think about a lot of the time.
Don said, are you guys less interested in midweeks because of the time schedule regarding Champions League and Europa League? I don't know what that means.
I have in season midweek cards. Like I'm not coming from this from like a total classic perspective. Like I have a Champions League in season team going out with Kimmich in this weekend. Like this midweek, like I have him. I would be willing to give them up if if there was a double game week for the weekends where these teams do play in competitions in the midweek.
I think the solution is double game week for champion and single game for the in-season competition for the
that's
single
unbelievable thinking. Yeah, I'd take that all day. I'm not too interested in having the double. Like I just want one score. Just give me a score for the weekend. Like that's all I'm worried about is missing out on that score on the weekend. I don't really care what he scores in the midweek, really. And I think you've just nailed it there. Yeah, just don't make it count in the single league comps.
Do you think you would be more likely to buy, like, I'm going to use Kimmich as an example, as if we can all buy multiple Kimmiches, but would you think you would buy 2 because you could play 1 in Champion to get do 2 scores and 1 in Bundesliga for the weekend?
Maybe, but then that tells me that like Kimmich is more powerful in Champ than he would be in Bundesliga. Is that right? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, because you're getting the midweek score in the Champ, but you're not in Bundesliga. But
well,
but then
the reason I say it is because like everyone, well, I was gonna say everyone in Champ gets 2 games, but they don't. Like
they don't, right?
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's interesting though, because yeah, okay, you get 2 scores in Champ right with Kimmich, but if you play him in Bundesliga, you're only playing against Bundesliga cards.
That's what I mean. You only get one.
Yeah, no, but then like the pool of players you're playing against is left, right? Where Champ is vast, like you said. So that's actually really, it like kind of counteracts it a little bit there. Like I don't know where I would play Kimmich if I was, a big Bundesliga and champion player. Where does one Kimmich go there?
Yeah, I like that's why you buy two. Just Eat said, is it a bad sign that we're talking about things we're less and less interested in? First was classic comps, now it's midweeks, losing a lot of the original fun I got hooked on. So I've already lost the fun of midweeks. Mm-hmm. We're not I'm not trying to figure out how to get rid of them. I actually already hate them.
Yeah, you've hated them longer than I have, but it's not something we bring up all the time, but I just don't get enjoyment out of midweeks that like I used to.
That was the biggest change for me with the change in structure. Was not classic to in season. It was the complete ignoring of South America after I had gotten so many cards in South America because of midweeks. Like everybody always joked, if when Bayern Munich absolutely smash whoever in the Champions League and everybody had Kimmich and All-Star and whatever. And it was like, I got River Plate coming up tonight and you guys have no idea what's coming. And that was like a fun part for me. And literally those games are only counted still in All-Star, whereas Kimmich can be played in All-Star, in the European comp and whatever. And so like that, that's the part that got me. And maybe everybody who loves, who has their Chelsea stacks, who when they go through the Conference League is fine with midweeks, but I don't know.
I get it. I do.
Johansson said, if he's playing versus Leverkusen and Slovan, I'd play Champ. If he's playing Barca and FCH, I'd play Bundes easy. But that's like, I think that's an interesting thing to think about.
No, it really is.
Dan said, I liked midweeks when I got card loads from other players to get podiums. Good time.
Those were the best times.
Those were the days.
They were
midweek loans. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What a time. I don't know. No, but like on Just Eat's point, like, I don't think it's a bad sign. These are just things that, we're just sort of saying that going into the new season, we'd like to see changed, or, it's just good sort of mental gymnastics, I think, to work through them. And it's probably a good thing that, like, I know they're like, you could argue they're big things, midweeks and whatever, but it's not as if we've rolled off like 30 things, Laird, have we? That's not good with the platform. Like, it's 2 or 3. We mentioned like 3 or 4 things. Like in the grand scheme of things, that's not many, pressure points, which is probably a good thing if you look at it that way. I think
it's a good thing for sure. For sure. And frankly, my super rare one I thought of 1 second before I
was going to say, I've never heard you say that one. So
So I didn't even, when everyone's like, well, how would this way? And I was like, I literally thought of this a second ago. I don't know. No, I think generally the game works for the most part. And I say that as we are going into our first real European offseason of, we're going to have to do this all over again. So maybe I'll feel differently, but it feels like it works. And so I don't think like many changes have to be made. Is the game perfect? Hardly. But it feels stronger than it has in a while. And anything that I suggest is purely selfish. Let me use my Franco Armani and Paulo Diaz to win cash until the end of time, but like it's not happening.
Would you somehow bring back rare pros or just pro competitions, as in like mixed scarcities? Or is that just too complicated at this point and muddies the water?
I think it's too complicated. What's funny is that when we were talking about super rares, I was going to make the joke, but I don't think it's actually, there was a thought quickly that it was true, but I don't think it is, that I play more super rares in limited competitions than I do in super rare competitions.
Probably do. It's not even a joke. I think that's reality.
Well, I just have some really bad super rares. That's all.
Right.
Mike said, just because you don't get enjoyment doesn't mean the rest of the players do. Don't take away others' fun just because it's not fun for you. That's time for you to play MFL and Footium. That's fair. If there are enough people who love midweeks, I mean, again, I'm not making any decisions here. I'm explaining why I don't enjoy midweeks. But yeah, if everybody else does, like, I get it. Would you enable the daily player you pick as subs for eligible lineups in terms of a DNP on that day? Would you enable daily player I have no idea what this means.
Yeah, I don't know either. If there's no midweek lineups, what?
I don't know. But yeah, I think for the most part, it's pretty good. I think U23 in season, which we've talked about a lot, like makes sense. I assume they have data where they just don't think they'll make enough money from more, from higher U23 sales to justify it.
Yeah.
Which, they have that data. We don't.
Is there anything else that really jumps out? Limited entries. I mean, we haven't really spoken about energy. Like I am kind of without knowing every mechanic about it. Like I was kind of all in last week on it, if it was to come in, but that's I don't know. Is it selfish? Maybe because we all have, a lot of us have lots of classic cards these days.
Mm-hmm. I think it works.
I think it softens the in-season blow as well of like the whole, after one season they're basically done. Like because they're not at that point, because you play the lineup, you get some energy, and you can use them again. I know you can use one right now, but let's just argue you need 5 in seasons next year across all scarcities maybe or whatever. Like I think it works. I do. I just don't know how. Yeah, because someone asked you, didn't they, on the stream? They were like, "Oh, someone told me that there was a cap on how much energy," and you were like, "Well, I use more than that." On the baseball stuff.
Yes, they were totally right.
Is there a cap at all or no? Got you.
Nope.
Yeah, it would have to be uncapped, I think, and maybe that's exploitable by whale or whatever. But everything, if you're whale, you've got more money. That's exploit. Like it's just the same.
Yeah.
This is just advantage. I'm not saying that from like my perspective. I'm not a fucking whale, but I think it works. I think it softens the in-season like deficit after the year if you're able to do that whole power up thing and use the energy. I really do. What do you think?
I like the idea, and because I've been using it, it's very easy to. The first time you do it, it's easily understandable. All of this whole like good luck selling this idea to new people. It's you literally are just not even trying to understand it. It's super easy to understand, and the fact that it's a reward in classic competitions just makes it reasonable. I just don't know how, from a financial standpoint, it works for Sorare. Like if there are too many people, they have to figure it out. And obviously, with the way that they did Essence, they seem to have overcalculated the first time, and then undercalculated, but they figured it out. But obviously, the risk for them early on is if too many people are using classic cards to win cash, like that, they're in trouble.
It's an issue.
But I don't think it's. I like it. I like it a lot, to be honest. Oliver Drew said midweeks need to stay. Excuse me. How can any mid-table team compete with Bayern PSG, who are huge favorites for both games in a double game week? A good part of Sorare is planning matchups to compete against the big dogs, which I think I guess if you're playing champ, then that's the case. But I would love to see how often that happens, where they both where they're huge favorites in the midweek, huge favorites on the weekend, and all starters play both. As opposed
not
to
a ton. And I don't think, like, if we're taking the example of we said that like in the Bundesliga, Kimmich wouldn't get the double game week. Like Augsburg, like how you pronounce it, Augsburg stacks have just been blowing everyone out of the water in Bundesliga the last 10 weeks. So like, there's a bottom table team, half table team doing. I don't know where they are right now, but like I think that's nil and void. We said he's only having one score anyway in Bundesliga, so that makes no sense for the mid-table Bundesliga teams. For champ, like you said, it gets a bit iffy, but that's just the risk you play of playing, Kimmich and champ, or playing against Kimmich and champ.
Yeah, my only hesitation on that one is like you don't want to have to submit lineups on Monday for like the weekend.
Didi's brought this up to me, I'm pretty sure, previously in the Discord, that was the one sticking point. I was like, yeah, that's tricky, isn't it? Because he could get injured in the midweek.
Right.
Isn't it? That's the big one there. Is that? Well, but it shouldn't lock though. Like the champ game, I don't know. Yeah, it gets dicey.
I think and this probably makes it a bit sloppy. I guess it's Tuesday. So we use like the Tuesday deadline that we have right now, right? That seems to be the appropriate cutoff point. You submit your lineup on Tuesday for champ, and all of those. Oh shit! I was gonna say all those guys get locked, but then you could change anybody else on Friday. By Friday. Like I'm thinking, what happens if you have Kimmich in your champ lineup on Tuesday, but the 4 other guys only play on the weekend? Like, can you change them up until the Friday deadline?
I mean, there's no advantage to not to do. Is there much of an advantage if you could be able to do that? Because they haven't played, obviously.
So the advantage is if Kimmich gets hurt on Friday, then you just put in 4 shitters in your lineup on Friday to surround him, because then...
Of course, but you might get relegated. Like, do you want to do that?
That's a good point.
Depends on scarcity, but, I don't know.
Jonathan's saying we should do Friday to Friday. I mean, it doesn't matter whether the Champions League starts it or ends it. You're right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The lineup should lock as soon as the first player in a lineup plays. But then, like, what if you have Kimmich and 4 guys from Strasbourg?
Right.
I guess that's why it makes more sense to have the Champions League game finish it instead of start it.
Got you. Okay, so like Friday to Friday.
Yeah.
So the weekend is the first game week of the week.
Friday is the first.
Yeah.
John Q said, and why would you not buy teams that are... And you would not buy teams that are not active in Europe, since you have to submit them in a lineup way too early before any info. Whereas with top teams, you have the cushion of the midweek. So yeah, the midweek matches would be the second
week. Yeah.
All right. See, we solved that. Just had to talk it through.
Yeah, a couple of minutes and already solved.
Yeah.
Andrea says you wouldn't be able to sell any players either. It's a really bad idea. I mean, you can't really sell any players now if they play double game weeks. Really,
player these days.
I know.
You wouldn't. Yeah. Or that's the selling risk. And frankly, isn't that what Sorare wants us to do? Not sell our players?
Not sell, yeah.
All right. See, we solved it.
I like the Friday one.
Yeah, me too.
Like having the weekend first is, and then the midweek's just the icing on the cake. If
it's like any other double game week that you have, when a player plays Tuesday and when they usually
Friday, Tuesday, or whatever.
Tuesday, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think selling a player that plays in the midweek, like not putting them in a lineup to sell them is a selling risk you take.
Mm-hmm.
Or like you said, you kill the lineup.
Right. Yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah, literally the double game weeks for FPL. Yeah.
As if I know what they're like. Come on now. Anything else?
Oliver said, if energy comes to football, to what extent do you think this will affect the in-season market? People pay huge prices early to get in with less competition. Why do this if cards are already energized? Well, you don't have enough energy to get full lineups in right away.
Right. I mean, there's already premium at the start of the season when people want to get in season early on, right? That's a thing anyway.
Like they gave every user some energy.
Okay, to kick you off. But
after doing it, it seemed completely unnecessary.
Did it because you've already churned enough?
Well, no, but like I think I played my lineup after one or two game weeks of like winning energy.
Okay.
But I think from a football perspective, you could just do 0. Everybody starts at 0.
And you just earn it throughout the weeks.
Or the minimum, or enough to get one player in.
Got you.
Or 1 in 3 lineups, or 1 in 3 in 1 line. Like, however.
Because that'd be the equivalent to what we do now, like 4 and 1. If they started us off with, a 4 and 1 type of amount of energy for the first game week, there's no difference. And then obviously, you can churn it throughout the game weeks then in Classic. Right. But I don't mind it.
We said, or we could do list and play. I think we should be able to do list and play, but if the card gets bought, your lineup is canceled.
Yeah, I like that. You're playing with fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put something on it. Like, there's nothing on it now when you list a card. Like, that would be fun.
Deanne says, Essence, Energy, what more stuff are they going to add? Vaulting.
Really? I hate this vaulting idea, Laird. I just don't think it's one of them that, like, it just doesn't make too much sense for the player to do it, really.
Well, it's because you get a rewards boost.
Right, but, like, I'm never going to vault my good players. Is that the idea, just to vault rubbish ones?
Yeah. And buy rubbish ones to vault.
Right. But you only get boosts on, like, if you played the rubbish version, right? If that makes it... No? Like, how would... If I didn't buy more Vanakans...
There's
like,
two different ones. There's player loyalty, and then there's vaulting.
Got you.
So vaulting is like, if you put 100 cards in your vault, all of your lineups get a 5% reward boost.
Okay.
And if you have old Vanakins and you vault them, then every lineup Vanakin is in gets a 5% boost, or whatever the number.
Yeah, I don't like that one. I like the first one.
That's okay.
I get it. Someone's going to scoop the floors, aren't they?
Yeah. Like, people were doing that in baseball. They were buying
really
50-cent cards just to vault them.
I get it.
Like, I wonder what the floor is now on baseball cards. I mean, surely it's still close to zero, but
yeah.
Market manager sales. I don't even think. Oh, lowest price. Here we go. $1.14 is the cheapest baseball card on the secondary. Oh, wait, sorry, that's in season. So for classic, oh yeah, see, 48 cents.
Okay.
Like, it would cost me, let's see.
Yeah, how does it work? Like,
where the hell is my cards? Here we go. So I vaulted limited. So I need to buy 40 more, 39 more limited cards. So if I spend $20,
okay,
and seal all those cards,
yeah,
I get a 7.5% boost on every reward I win instead of 6%.
So $100, you get 107.5. So you have to win that 3 times to make the money back, technically, that you've spent on the 20.
Yep. But that's forever.
It's forever, okay. Or is it seasonally?
No, it's.
Is it really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then, see, this is like buying 30 rares. I didn't see what the floor was from rares. Hold on. Manager sales. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, so it's basically double or triple, 150.
Yeah.
For the cheapest ones.
So well, yeah, it depends on how many cards you need to do it, but
right. $60. Okay. I don't even play rare in season, so.
All right, yeah. That's
interesting. This is right forever until Sorare change it. There you go.
Yeah.
Can I please burn all my shy players and turn them into one or two? No. But you can lock them and have your good players that you buy earn more than what they have been.
Yeah, I don't mind that idea, the whole burn or vaulting cards to get a little bit more from your winnings type of thing. Yeah, I could see why you would do it, and it isn't one of those obvious ones like the jackpot in Super MLS where you just like, come on, like that one isn't realistic. But this, yeah, I can see it. Say if I vaulted like Nishikawa and like I lose 90% collection bonus on him, like for my rest of my, that stays, does it?
Yeah. Yeah,
you just can't use him.
Yeah, you just can't use him.
Okay. I don't mind it. It gives more utility to collection pieces, technically.
For sure does.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, it's difficult to put a number on it of like, how much is it? Like, how much should I spend to get, but we just did it right there.
Yeah.
Like, I get another 1.5% on everything I win. If
Super rares could be funny, like, well, because I saw somebody, was it River Sorare? Did you see his tweet? He was like, I'm buying like floor price uniques, like basically said like, sell me retired uniques for like $10, and he tweeted that out a few days ago, and I was like, huh. I'm guessing he's thinking about that coming into play. And then he was like, if I ever sell them on, I'll give you 10% of what it sells for. Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm just looking at the super rares that I own. Like if you could just go to and I have what, 101?
Yeah.
Like how many of these that I would vault and never, like the first 6,
All
8
game vaulted.
are red X's, like
Yeah.
I would probably vault every single one of these except this Paulo Diaz card.
Mm-hmm.
Because the best part is that you can unvault them.
But one a day or something?
Yeah, one a day. And they have to be vaulted for at least 7 days. So like I would vault that Lehan Bum card. And then if he ever plays,
Yeah.
I can pull him out.
You can't sell a vaulted card, obviously.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now I find this offensive, DN, 101 trash super rares, because I have at least 3 that are good.
Like, I completely get it. But, like, you aren't even listing those cards anyway. So, like, what is it really doing? Like, it's not cleaning up the market. Are we saying it would eventually clean up the market? Because, like, what you've done there, you're not cleaning up the market because you're not listing those supers, right?
I'm not, but I certainly could. Like, if they announce this and it's like, hey, collect these or, buy these min price super rares. I guess the way that I'm looking at it, so I have 101 of them. Let's say 80 of them are literally worthless.
Okay.
And I vault 80 of them. And it's like,
$800.
hey, if you got to 85, you get a bonus on your super.
Right.
And it's like, oh, maybe I will buy 5 shit super
A couple
rares. Like, I think the idea was it takes cards out of competitions, but it doesn't really. That part doesn't. It's really just giving a floor to the absolute garbage, which people have been asking for years, mind you.
Yeah, but to the red X's and stuff, have people asked for that floor to be risen?
I mean, people want everything. Yes, you can vault red X's.
Yeah. I get it. It's just like you said, yeah, if the goal is to clean up competitions, well, that like you said, that ain't happening, is it?
The player loyalty one ideally cleans that up more.
Got you. Yeah, because like 5 Vanakans turn into 1.
Yeah, and then I vault 5 of them. That's 5 that are not in competitions anymore. That one I don't think they it's like max, it's I think for baseball it's 1% bonus per number of years they have. So like Vanaken would be like 6 or 7% because he has 6 seasons worth of cards.
Got you.
But I'm just not sure that's enough to get people to do it.
That's what I'm like with that one.
But if you just did it a higher percentage, you get a 20% bonus if you lock up 5 5 stars. Now you're like, shit, maybe
that works if you're like you said earlier about like only one lineup wins out of the 3. The other that would make it quite interesting.
It's not a score bonus though.
No, but I'm saying like I'd be less incentivized to keep my 3 Vanakans if I knew only one lineup's going to count anyway. I'd be like, all right, let me just vault the 2 and boost my 1 and have just 1 mega lineup than 3 fine lineups.
Yeah, you could.
I don't know.
You could. I don't know how. I don't even know if they're going to do it for football.
Right. But like when you said about like you had 80 duds maybe in Super Rare, I was more thinking like, well, if the floor is $10, you could sell all them for $800 if you really wanted to. Like if that was the floor of Red X Super Rare duds that go into the vault, like if they did do that, it would increase utility. Like people would start buying and selling those low.
They need enough people to think it's optimal.
Of course.
That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind
it just cleans up your gallery. When you go into the lineup builder and the vaulted cards don't show up and you're like, this is kind of nice.
That's the removal we've all been asking for, isn't it? The vault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We got anything else? Just solved so many problems today.
I know we really have, haven't we? I don't know. I did think the chat would have. Maybe we haven't really prompted them too much, but I did think we'd have more ideas, like from the chat. Maybe we haven't really asked for them, which is on us. But because I said to you last night, I was like, I think the chat would be on fire. Like they'll give out some. There's more being to be fair,
responding to our ideas.
Yeah, like reacting to it, which I completely get. I was just hoping we get a couple of funky. I saw SO, having like SO11s and stuff. There was a few ideas to be fair, but yeah,
I'd love to just see some like unique ideas, not ideas for the unique scarcity, but ideas I have not heard yet.
Yeah, I mean, years ago, it's not that unique. I'm sure people have said it before, but like mixing like sports, have a multi-sport comp.
I think Nicola said that once.
I'm sure he has, yeah.
But
I'm sure he has.
nothing yet.
No. Yeah.
This is the time right now. All 3 sports are playing.
True.
Dan said, I have ideas, but not giving them for free for Sorare. I can assure you that Sorare will not pay you for your ideas. So I don't know what you're holding on to them for.
Yeah. At the end, I don't want to burst your bubble, but they're probably not that good of ideas.
Oh, that too. Wow.
I mean, all of us aren't, because if they were that good, we'd be working from, really.
Dobsy's in for month-long comps, which I'm a hard no on, but I get that people like.
I mean, we've had them before. I don't know whether Dobbsy was around then, but we have had them.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I won my Footium game.
Ooh, get in.
4-1.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it is.
I lost today and I felt bad because Sam reached out to me and I was like, I'm not talking to you anymore.
We're done.
We're done.
Yeah.
Thomas, Gladiator Ringburn Mechanism. You enter a card you don't mind losing in a 1v1 matchup against another player. Winner gets credit that scales with rarity. Yeah, I mean, you just need the gambling license while you do that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think Sorare Mega is going to come back with? Do you think it's just the same game, but just they're back?
I think so, but it's taken a little while, hasn't it? I wonder if Sorare have got anything like connection. Would you? Like, I don't know whether you have any information on that you can't. I just wonder if there's any, not backing, but I just think for them to come back, like surely there's something, that they've integrated in with Sorare, not on the webpage or anything on Sorare itself. I just mean, just like, yeah, backing wise and just dev wise. I don't know, like something fun must be happening, because they wouldn't. Would you bother bringing it back if they weren't? Really?
I feel like there was a time where Sorare really wanted third-party sites to do stuff with the cards because it was like that was what Web3 could do. The blockchain, right. You can use your cards with anything, and I feel like that disappeared over the last couple of years. And they're just want to, and part of it is they just want to focus on their own platform, which like I can't fault them after what looked like they went bankrupt paying out threshold payments, but so I don't know. I don't have a clue. Yeah, I don't know.
Someone needs to code like a cup competition again, like SD had. There needs to be a site where we just go on there, the Sorare Cup.
So the problem with that is that that ultimately relied on Sorare to provide rewards.
Fair.
And I think it's very difficult to build something based on Sorare that is independent of Sorare having to provide rewards and doesn't need a gambling license.
Got you. Yeah, that's the tricky one, isn't it? How, like, what is the rewards?
And how many people are going to play another site for no real rewards?
Not much. Because the cups are super fun.
They were really fun.
11 aside, like, yeah, it's just, I remember like, the reward was so distant to me in that cup. Not that like, like I didn't really care, if I'm being honest. Like I was just enjoying putting in 11 players into one thing and seeing, what would they score and beating. It was more like a bragging rights thing, honestly, because you would come up against, there was less people playing, so you just basically knew everyone that was playing, and I kind of liked that, genuinely. Like I thought that was cool. And these days it would be more of a, you're in a 50,000 user comp and it halves every week, and who is the best player? Like I know there's no reward to that specifically, but I think there's a bragging rights reward baked in.
Yeah, it could be for sure.
But yeah, like, as the side, like you're not making anything, are you? Like there's no like money to be made if you made that site. Or maybe you could do ads potentially, like Google ads.
Yeah, they just
I don't know whether. Yeah, I know it's pennies, but like, yeah, there's no. Yeah, that's the thing. You can't monetize it really, can you? From like a business standpoint.
And everyone will say, "Oh, just get it sponsored." And you're like, "All right, call the McDonald's marketing department and say, hey, I've got a game that 1,000 people will play.
3 people play. I know.
Please give me $10,000 every week." Yeah. I don't know. Just Heat said, honestly, I'd just be happy with vaulting, DNP fix, and prize pools that justify card prices. The game has changed so much the last couple of years. We need refinement more than change. I will say, I don't think any user thought Sorare needs to change as much as it changed last year. Sorare clearly felt that way because they have a lot of information we don't have. It does feel like, from the naked eye, the gameplay now works for them, and that we may be able to go into a refinement period, which I think is just healthier for everybody.
100%. Like a lot of the things I've mentioned today, I know you said your midweek one is more of a personal thing, which is completely fine. There's obviously personal ones I've brought up, but ultimately I just want the game to just be more, because if I know the game's a bit more fun for me, I'm not saying I'm going to speak for everyone because that's obviously not the case, but like if there's less pain points, from DMPs and stuff, I think that just benefits everyone long term. Benefits Sorare because they can, market the game better, and there's just less people, like there's less churn, people leaving because of things like that. I think ultimately I do personally, I just want a better game for everyone. Like that is how Sorare succeed, and then in turn you've got a chance of doing well on the game. If not, the game might not exist for you to even be good at it, type of thing.
Yeah.
So that's the way I've always looked at it. Even when Threshold's gone, it was a fucking bummer and stuff, and it was horrible for the amount of cash you could win from a weekly basis easily. But ultimately, you knew it was saving the platform. So it just comes from that perspective. Do you care about the longevity, or don't you? It's basically the two camps for me.
And what's funny is I feel like the people who are like, why do I care about Sorare's viability? And it's like,
Right.
well, if you really like the game and it's not
play.
viable, there will not be a game. Like,
Right.
Like you and I have been talking about how this is it feels like a very dead period for Sorare. And now we're an hour and 47 minutes into talking about, like the whole conversation was basically
right.
And none of it is drastic changes that we're like, this has to happen or else it's going to die. It just doesn't. The DNP thing, I realize people are exhausted about it.
Yeah,
I did reply, I forget where it was, to somebody commenting, maybe it was on one of the videos this week. They were like, nobody's selling up and leaving because of DNPs. And I was like, there's a difference between people selling up and leaving and just not engaging in the platform anymore, which includes not spending money. Exactly. There are plenty of people who I don't know if the number is as high as it used to be. It probably is. But there was a high number of people who would have left if they felt like they could get enough value for their cards, and they stay and they don't spend $1 and they complain about classic comps because it's all they play now. But they stay and they hate DNPs, but they're just like, whatever at this point.
Yeah.
That's almost as bad as selling up and leaving because they have this negative energy that they keep here.
And they're not spending.
Right. That's what I mean.
And rather them not be around.
Right.
And, really, because, the energy thing. And, I agree.
Yeah. I think there are plenty of people who just love this game. And we now are in this refinement period where it's like, all right, let's figure out how to make the game more enjoyable. And that wasn't something that I ever thought about a lot with the DNPs. I was just like, oh, it's just part of the game. And I think Behab was one of the first people who brought it up, and we're just where you shouldn't be so I'm going to say that wrong, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but like, enjoyment of this game is important. And if there are places in the game that provide a negative experience that could be fixed, you should try to be fixing them. And I think the DNP thing is the most recent one where people are just they become
in their ways
instantly. Well, that too, but I think there are people who get instantly disengaged by having a DNP in a lineup, whether it's the first one or the last one. And then when they go into their next game week, they don't feel great because they just had this bad experience, and they need to. If there's a solution for that, they should be. And I think they are working on it. I think Sorare have talked about it enough where they know it's a problem. And we've all talked about how not every solution is perfect. And so you just need to find one that eliminates a reason for disengagement, and hopefully it's something that doesn't become overly engaging where you're just like, well, this is a grind I don't want to do either. It's not easy. Like, none of this is easy. And I think we all kind of just throw out ideas like, just do this. And then we're like, yeah, but if, and that's what Sorare is dealing with.
Yeah, it's not easy. I wouldn't want to be in that position. I think you said that previously, haven't you? Like, it's not a nice position to be in. Having to think of those or implement those, those changes and stuff. There's always going to be people that are angry about it and whatever. That's just part of it, I guess. But yeah, it all comes back to, do we want the game? How long do you want the game to be around, and how fun do you want the game to be? And I think Sorare want it to be as fun as possible. As players, you want it to be as fun as possible. Really, I'd like to think. And then, yeah, as a byproduct, you win things if you're good at it. If I'm not like the thing you said there, like if you experience a DMP, like the next week you're a bit more disengaged. Not only disengaged, you're less likely to spend money, because why am I going to buy Lo Celso this week if like he might not play, and like I'd rather keep my 50 quid and whatever. Like you just less engagement leads to less money spent, and that isn't good for anyone, because it reduces prize pools ultimately, and it reduces Sorare's earn. So yeah, I don't know. We can work in tandem. I think there's a middle ground to be had with some of these ideas. None of them are perfect. They're never going to be, but it's just reduce the pressure points, and we've got a better game, I think.
Yeah. I think a lot of people were willing to put up with DNPs when the prize of getting everything right was 10x what it is right now. And that almost sounds counter, because it's like, well, you should be more upset if you got a DNP if the prize is so big, because you missed out on that big prize. But like the very next game week, you had another opportunity, and now you still have that opportunity every so often. But it's just a more negative. I just feel like it's a more negative experience now. And genuinely, like, you've been playing Footium, I've been playing a little bit. I play MFL, and enjoyment in the game is really important. And if there are ways where you can increase that enjoyment, then like you should do that.
DN saying there that people are paying $3,000 for keepers and that. Well, that was when there was a threshold for one, and two, you're saying people are crying about DMPs now because cards are way cheaper. It's because of the in-season. It's because you only have 36 games worth of in-season. So if you do get 10 DMPs out of those 36 games, well, you've only got 26 goes at winning the cash that week, because you've got 10 DMPs or whatever. So that's the issue. It's condensed into a season, like the ability, or the ability to experience DMPs. And the $3,000 keeper thing, we had easy money. There's and there was less cards.
It's comparing now to when I paid $1,000 for Higashiguchi. Like, there's no way that game continues. It couldn't. I don't know. I think we solved everything. That's all I got for today.
So we'll be taking 10% each of Sorare's revenue next season. We might buy out Nicholas's yacht.
12.5% for the U23 specifically.
Yeah. I want a bit more for that one.
Obviously, I mean,
if they do bring it out, I'm working on a copyright right now, or a patent. If they do bring it out, I'm suing them.
Yeah.
And taking them for everything they've got.
Thank you everybody for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. Go over to the Harry Trades YouTube channel. It's just Harry Trades, and you'll find it. Become a member so that he can afford the lawyer to sue Nicola for this infringement upon his ideas. Anyway, and if you have any other money laying around, patreon.com/Andrew M. Laird helps support this channel and all the other content done. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. MFL stream tomorrow, probably a Sorare one as well, or double dipping on Thursday. We'll see. Anyway, thank you everybody for coming, and don't forget to go outside.